Many Path of Exile players ask the question, is Breach still worth it after the changes without any quantity on gear? Well, the answer to that is very interesting. Hey, I'm Cyclon, and today I have that interesting answer. I ran live on Twitch this weekend 96 Legion and Breach cemeteries, and the result have been very interesting. In previous leagues, Legion and Breach has been a very interesting and powerful combination, however it took quite some time to run it. Well, with the changes of Breach to be more quality focused than over quantity focused, we now have reduced the time by about half. What used to take me about 10 minutes including looting, now can take me as little as 5 minutes. Now 5 minutes is still fairly a lot of time, however the map itself I run in 2 to 3 minutes, and then I spend about a minute to a minute half looting most of the time. Sometimes it takes a bit longer, sometimes not, so average map time I think is a very reasonable 5 minutes. For a bit weaker build, a bit slower builds, you can expect a mapping time of 6 minutes. For the looting, we need to loot all one splinter stacks of Chayula, all single splinters, because the Chayula Breach Strat is actually worth about 50 chaos. It is worth to pick them all up, as we need to sell those to get our big profit. Actually, if you sell them in a bigger bulk, you can get asked up to 60 chaos for them even. But with that in mind, let's take a look at what we're running. So, we're going to use the Gilded Legion and Gilded Breach Scarab, and we're combining them each with a Sextant. On top of those Gilded Scarabs, we're also going to use a Rusted Sulfite Scarab for additional movement speed with a Pact with Power notable from the Atlas passive tree. And we're going to use a Rusted Divination Scarab, getting us just slightly more Brother's Gift drop chances, so we can get 1 to 2 in our 100 maps and just be satisfied with that. And our Sextant of choice are going to be the following. We're going to use the Legion and the Splinters Emblem Duplicate Sextant for Legion, and we're going to use the Breach and the Chayula Breach, or guaranteed Chayula Breaches, for our Breaches. And when we combine this with this tree, which is really just all the Legion nodes, all the Chayula nodes, and then packed with energy with mining byproducts to cover the cost of the Sulfite Scarabs and make a bit there, combined with additional little bit additional delirium chance to get some random deliriums, which by the way I've gotten quite a few of, and I've not included any in the profit. Those are pure extra. I've not included any clusters in the profit. If you're going to run this, you're going to get even better results, because you're going to get those and you'll be able to sell those, as I haven't sold them, as I haven't included them in the profit. There's still even more potential up, which to even more potential we get to later back again. But anyway, there are a few things to need to note. This is a 132 passive points tree. We want to have all those nodes to get the most out of this. If you don't have all passive points, you might want to either look in a different strategy, or you can drop a very few points. It will be shown or will reflect itself in your profits, but you could technically drop the quantity of splinters dropped by monster points. And then you could also drop this one from the Breach hand points, and you should still get somewhat similar results. However, you will definitely lose out on some Breach Strats, which doesn't fully matter, because we still made a crazy amount of profit with this, but it is gonna reflect in the profit. Anyway, as the rest, it's just all the Legion stuff we are used to. We don't take face off, we don't take the general nodes, because we're going to use a Gilded Scarab, and we just take those two. If your build is fast enough, if your build is strong enough to kill a full Legion on normal time with double health, you don't need this real, you just need the small node here for the Legion chance. So you have, with all this combined, a Delirium Mirror about every other 2 maps, or every 2 to 3 maps, and you're going to have 2 to 3 Legions per map, and most of the time 2 to 3 Breaches per map, with a chance, because of our Eve of Invasion, to have some more Breaches in your map, which is not that likely, but it still exists and it's nice to have. But with that in mind, let's take a look at our consistent and inconsistent profit. This is what I mean with, this is something you can very likely expect as a baseline. And after that, all we add are notable lucky drops that are somewhat expectable, but definitely aren't guaranteed. But this part is something that is averageable, and on average can be guaranteed. So, on our consistent part, we have stacked decks, Chaos Orbs, and then we have Exalted Annulment Orb, because we're going to open a lot of Legion rewards, and we're going to open a lot of Ornate Incubators. And then we have all the Legion Breach Stones, Awakened Sextants, Templar Emblems, Maracas Emblems, and a crazy amount of map sustain despite not having any map sustain nodes. We still got 1.5 maps on average per map run. And on the inconsistent part, well, we are looking just at Brother's Gifts and Divine Orbs dropped. Now, let's take a look at what we're actually making on a consistent part. Assuming a 5-minute map, which again requires a fairly strong build, we're looking about 3.87 Divine's profit per hour. Now, if you're saying your build is a bit weaker, let's say 6 minutes. Well, even on 6 minutes, we're looking at 3.23 Divine's profit per hour. As a comparison, on my higher investment Legion and Harbinger strategy, which costs the same amount of investment or similar amounts of investment per map, we're looking at a 1.87 Divine's profit in a 5-minute maps, and on a 4-minute map we're looking at 2.3 Divine's profit. So on a 5-minute map we're looking at less than 2 Divines on a consistent basis. With Legion and Breach we're looking over 3 Divines. As a baseline consistent profit, that's already insane. And now we add our lucky drops, Divines and Brother's Gifts on top. We are looking at a 5-minute maps at 6.3 Divines. Now again, comparison, with 5-minute maps or let's say actually 4-minute maps, because it makes it even more clear, with 4-minute maps we were almost close at 6 Divines profit per hour. With our Legion and Breach at 5 minutes we are above 6 Divines profit per hour. Meaning this strategy just on a baseline level, without any notable lucky drops like a unique with a corrupt, a well-rolled unique, or a fractured item, a synthesized item, or a lucky divination, lucky gem. Even without any of these lucky drops, we are already looking at 6 Divines profit per hour, which is insanely good. And now we get to notable drops that I've had in my case. My notable drop in my 96 map, which is making the majority of my notable drop return, was actually a 3rd Brother's Gift. The reason I said it's a notable drop and not a Brother's Gift drop is that I got it from a Legion chest, which means that it could have been any divination card in the game and it decided to be a Brother's Gift. So this is why this is my lucky drop in these 96 maps. The other notable drops actually aren't even that lucky. I sold 1 divine worth of 1 socket resonators that we got from mining byproducts. That is a node that gives us Azerite when we get sulfite sometimes. So we buy those and then we sell them for we sell the 1 socket resonators for divines. 1 divine worth of what was its name? Eldritch Ember, the 3rd stage, the highest one that can be dropped in maps. And then we had just 2 chosen divination cards. So this one stacked up pretty quickly. Even without the Brother's Gift, it would have still been about a little bit less than a 1000 chaos profit in notable drops. And again, those aren't even that lucky. They're just been a lot of small stuff added up that we are somewhat able to get, not guaranteed, but very close to guaranteed in our maps. So with this, on a 5-minute map basis, I've been looking at 7.45 Divines per hour. Now of course you can say, build is not so strong, map takes longer, looting takes ages, some other stuff, hideout time. Okay, let's say 6 minutes. Even on a 6-minute basis, we look at 6.21 Divines per hour. Again, as direct comparison, this is what we've got on 5-minute maps on our Legion and Harbinger strategy. So just as a big comparison, Breach and Harbinger, Breach looks a lot better. And now we get to the huge potential part of this. We know, confirmed by GGG, that Breach is actually now affected by quantity on player quantity. So the more quantity your map has, the more player quantity you have, the more splinters you're going to get from monsters. The more splinters you're going to get from breach bosses. So my buddy, Zark, has actually showed me a screenshot where he ran 100 maps and got 150 breach stones. So I'm just going to mention this. I'm not going to go into detail into this now. I'm just mentioning this. There's a huge potential with quantity on this strategy. Just having a bit of extra quantity on your character and running high quantity maps like 8-mod maps or unID'd maps is going to heavily affect your amounts of breach stones better than mine. So with that in mind, there's a lot of potential in the strategy, and even without that potential, let's head in-game and look at the actual profit I've made that I can show you right now in Raw Chaos and Divines. Now, the cost of this was 17 divines. The mapping cost, the chaos I have, is worth about 12.15 divines. So this is looking at 64 divines. Now if we take those 64 divines and divide it by the maps we've run, we are looking at about 0.6 divines profit per map. In comparison, if we take that 64 plus 17, which is 74, which is 81, and divide that by the amount of maps, we're looking at almost 0.8, which is, let's see, we are looking at almost a little bit more than 180c profit per map on average. And that is pretty damn good. This is better than Legion and Harbinger, where we looked at like half a divine profit or maybe 0.6 divines profit. We're looking at 0.8 divines gained per map, which is 0.6 divines profit per map. I am very happy with this strategy, and again, there is more potential. This is just the baseline. Without any quantity on my gear, you can see my gear over here. I have no quantity, I have no rarity. I've just run corrupted maps, preferable 8-mod or unID'd, but a few of them were just normal maps, and the result has been insane. And all that being said, if I still haven't convinced you that this is a good strategy, I don't know what else to say, so I'm gonna say this. Have a wonderful day, and good luck for the rest of the league. So this is to everybody, not just to those that I haven't convinced. Goodbye.